to every open mic that I do, so I really appreciate everyone bringing their best jizz jokes. My dad really likes it.
Yes.
I do also appreciate the fact that there are non-comedians here, just people here to watch. That's really rare for an open mic night. I'm being 100% serious, I'm not joking. I specifically want to shout out our main man, Alex, down at the end of the bar, sitting next to my mom. Woo! Woo! Give it up for Alex. I did overhear him telling a story earlier this evening. By overhear, I mean I was actively eavesdropping. He was talking about how one time he bought a gram of cocaine.
Maybe. Yes, he was.
Not to call you out, this is not really about you, it's still me time. I have never purchased drugs because I'm pretty. And so I did one time date, not a drug dealer necessarily, but more like a drug Oprah, who sort of gave weed out to anybody who wanted some. It was like, you get some pot, and you get some pot, and you get some pot, which is great for me, because I don't make a lot of money. I do think, however, that I would make a really good drug dealer, and not just because I'm really unassuming, and so nobody would think that I am a drug dealer, but rather I think that drug dealing is a lot like being a baker, because you have to be really specific in your measurements. Obviously, if you're going to cut drugs or something, you want to make sure that the measurements are all right. You got to sample a bit of your product, make sure that it tastes good, but not too much. Don't eat all of the cookies that you've made, especially if those cookies happen to contain wheat butter. It's not very good business practice. And also because I think that if I were to be a drug dealer, I'd want to have one of those like big, buff, quiet type bodyguards behind me, so that whenever I go to do a drug deal, the person who I'm dealing with would think that they are the drug dealer, and then I would put them in a really awkward situation by being like, excuse me, did you just assume that a woman could not sell drugs? And then they would feel obliged to buy more drugs out of societal pressure because they feel bad for me.
Yes.
That's my business plan, okay? I'm gonna take it to Shark Tank. Speaking of assumptions, I am looking forward to everyone reintroducing the mask mandate. I know that that's an unpopular opinion, but I feel like if I'm wearing a mask and sunglasses walking down the street, then any man who catcalls me is immediately just picking up on my personality, and I really appreciate that. Oh, yes, or my body, that's true, although I, up until recently, had the body of a 12-year-old, so that would be the opposite of good, but thank you so much. If people do make a lot of assumptions about me, a lot of people assume that I'm white, which is technically true, unless you're asking the US Census. My dad, who's currently filming this, is a Mexican man. And my favorite thing about being Mexican is when people make jokes about going to Mexico and drinking anything that has water in it. Like, you know, everyone here has heard that phrase, Montezuma's Revenge. Raise your hand if you've heard that, Montezuma's Revenge. Okay, I'm seeing some hands, that's good. I'm not the only one who's heard that racist comment. I think the issue with Montezuma's Revenge is that everyone who makes that joke is going to those like 4-star, all-you-can-eat inclusive resorts, and they're just drinking frozen margaritas the entire time. You know that's made with ice, right? You know what ice is made with? The same water you think is going to give you diarrhea. And if we're being realistic, there's really only one ice that all Mexicans have to be concerned about.
Oh, yes.
I live in the South Loop, which is a pretty good neighborhood if you're asking anyone who doesn't live north of the river. And the only reason why I say that is because I've been dating a lot recently, and I've dated a lot of guys who have like 3-bedroom townhouses in Wrigleyville, but they still only have 3-in-1 shampoo and conditioner. And I think I realized that the trick there is that you can afford a mortgage in Wrigleyville if you do not have any shampoo and conditioner. That's probably one of the questions on like a mortgage application is, if you're filling it out, it's, do you buy your soap in the same place where you buy all of your dish detergent? And I'm sure the guys filling that questionnaire out are looking at it and they're like, trick question. Soap is soap. And that's why I can never afford a mortgage. That's my time, guys. Thank you so much.